Have you ever been jolted awake at night by a sudden piercing pain shooting through your calf or foot? Leg cramps, often called Charlie horses, can feel like someone twisted your muscles into knots and refused to let go. Many older adults experience these cramps on a regular basis, and the most common advice you'll hear is simply, drink more water. But here's what most people don't realize. While hydration is absolutely essential, there are deeper causes behind leg cramps that often go overlooked. Especially after age 65, your body changes in ways that make the usual just drink more water advice incomplete or even misleading. Leg cramps may seem like a small annoyance, but they can drastically impact your quality of life. Imagine being too afraid to take a leisurely walk for fear that your muscles might seize up at any moment, or waking up multiple times every night, robbing you of restful sleep. When you're constantly bracing for that next jolt of pain, staying active and independent can feel like an uphill battle. And it's not just about the discomfort. Chronic leg cramps can erode your confidence. You might find yourself hesitating to volunteer at community events or skipping family gatherings because you don't want to be the one who slows everyone down if a cramp strikes. Yet there's good news. By understanding a few core concepts that most people ignore, particularly around hydration, electrolyte balance, muscle care, and how diet shifts after 65, you can take significant steps to reduce these cramps and regain your sense of freedom. Whether you're looking to keep up with your grandchildren during a park outing or simply enjoy a cozy evening without fear of being awakened by stabbing muscle pain, the strategies you're about to learn can make a real difference. This presentation will walk you through 4 essential insights that challenge the age-old advice of just drink more water. You'll discover why hydration goes beyond plain water alone, how certain nutrients can make or break your leg health, and why gentle movement routines tailored for seniors can be a game changer. You'll also learn how to adjust your diet in ways that support healthy muscles, even if you have to be mindful of budgets, taste preferences, or chronic conditions like diabetes. By the end, you'll have a practical blueprint that can help you move, rest, and live with far fewer painful cramps and far more confidence. My experience comes from working with older adults who've turned seemingly minor tweaks into life-changing results. While I'm not here to offer individual medical advice, I've seen firsthand how focusing on the right aspects of hydration, nutrition, and gentle exercise can transform someone's day-to-day experience. It's not about fancy supplements or rigid regimens. It's about understanding what your body truly needs at this stage of life and providing it with simple, consistent support. As you follow along, I invite you to think about times you've experienced leg cramps, whether during a family gathering or even while doing something as routine as folding laundry. Keep those moments in mind, because by the time we're finished, you'll see how to approach them differently. You'll learn which simple changes can shift your body from cramped and uncertain to comfortable and capable. Now let's shine a new light on the deeper story behind leg cramps and uncover why just drink more water might be holding you back more than helping you. It's easy to assume that water intake alone fixes all cramping issues, but the older we get, the more nuanced hydration becomes. For instance, your body's thirst signals aren't as sharp as they used to be, which can lead to mild chronic dehydration. Or you might be on medications, like diuretics for blood pressure, that flush out more than just excess fluid. Let's challenge that first assumption and see what else might be at play behind those painful cramps. Some seniors believe that they need the same amount and type of fluid they needed in their 40s. That's a misconception. Take Harold, who's 72. He noticed he was waking up with cramps in his calves multiple times a week. He followed the drink more water advice, so he ramped up his daily intake from around 4 cups to nearly 10. But he kept having cramps. Why? Because the deeper issue wasn't just overall hydration, it was what the water was and wasn't doing in his body. Harold had unknowingly diluted important electrolytes his muscles needed to function properly. He also overlooked the fact that some of his medications increased his fluid loss. Essentially, he was drinking more and more plain water, yet still felt parched and crampy. There's a growing awareness among health specialists that fluid balance in older adults is about far more than gulping down glass after glass of water. The body's ability to regulate fluids can shift after 65 due to kidney function changes and shifts in hormones that control thirst. In Harold's case, the real solution involved targeted hydration practices, like having a modest electrolyte drink or consuming mineral-rich foods in tandem with water. The goal was to ensure that every sip of water actually stayed in his system long enough to nourish his muscles, rather than being rushed out of his body and taking critical electrolytes along for the ride. What's most exciting is that adopting balanced hydration habits can bring real relief for leg cramps. Practical steps include spacing your fluid intake throughout the day rather than chugging water all at once, pairing water with foods high in potassium, magnesium, or sodium under your healthcare provider's guidance, and avoiding excessive caffeine or alcohol, which can contribute to dehydration. Another technique is to keep a simple log to see patterns. Do your cramps strike after you've had coffee or tea? Or do they get worse on days when you skip fruits and vegetables and rely more on packaged snacks? By fine-tuning how you hydrate, you can reduce the frequency and severity of nighttime cramps. And more broadly, you'll feel more comfortable standing or walking for longer stretches. No more second-guessing whether that glass of water is enough or too much. The emotional payoff is equally important. You'll feel in control of your body's signals again, rather than frustrated by repeated muscle cramps. If you're like Harold, the difference might come down to something as simple as sipping an electrolyte-balanced beverage at dinner instead of that third cup of plain water. Before we move on, consider how you've been hydrating lately. Do you spread out your fluid intake? Have you tried balancing water with foods or drinks that replenish vital minerals? This small but crucial change can provide surprising relief, and it sets the stage for understanding another piece of the puzzle: your body's need for critical minerals and electrolytes. When it comes to leg cramps, many seniors zero in on dehydration alone, overlooking the importance of minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium. After all, if you grew up hearing "drink more water" and "cut salt," you might not realize that certain forms of salt and other electrolytes are actually beneficial. Yet this misconception can be a direct cause of persistent muscle cramps that refuse to go away. Meet Diane, 68, who believed her daily multivitamin covered all her mineral needs. Every morning, she'd take her pill with a big glass of water, but Diane noticed that the slightest exertion, like playing catch with her grandkids, would bring on sharp leg cramps. Her assumption was that these cramps signaled she just needed extra water, so she kept topping up her water bottle, yet the cramps never really improved. The breakthrough came when a nutrition-aware nurse explained that Diane's diet was actually low in magnesium. Water alone couldn't fix that deficit, and even her multivitamin didn't provide enough to compensate for how quickly her body was burning through magnesium reserves. Research suggests that muscle contraction and relaxation heavily depend on a balance among potassium, magnesium, calcium, and sodium. In seniors, magnesium deficiency is surprisingly common, and it can present as persistent cramps, muscle twitches, or fatigue. Sometimes, because we've been told to avoid salt for blood pressure reasons, we go too far in the other direction and miss out on essential electrolytes. This is why salt can't just be dismissed as universally bad. Your body needs the right kinds in the right amounts, especially if you're losing minerals through certain medications or health conditions. So what did Diane do differently? First, she discussed her situation with her healthcare provider, because any changes in mineral intake should account for existing prescriptions and medical conditions. Next, she integrated more magnesium-rich foods into her meals: spinach, almonds, dark chocolate, within moderation, and even a few slices of avocado daily. She also kept track of her sodium levels, focusing on better quality salt sources and making sure not to over-restrict. Over the course of a few weeks, she noticed the cramps diminished drastically. She still drank water regularly, but she no longer believed water was the entire story. Why does this matter emotionally? When you're lacking in these key minerals, it's not just your muscles that suffer. You can feel perpetually tired or irritable, which makes it harder to stay socially active or motivated to try new activities. Replenishing electrolytes can improve not just your physical comfort, but also your overall mood. If you find yourself resonating with Diane's story, think about how balanced your meals are. Are you getting enough leafy greens, nuts, seeds, or healthy grains? Do you season your food in a balanced way, Neither too little nor too much salt, particularly if your doctor advises caution. A well-rounded approach can keep your muscles happy and free you from that nagging worry about when the next cramp will strike. Now might be a good time to pause and reflect. Have you focused only on water, overlooking the role of vital minerals? If your leg cramps persist despite solid hydration habits, it may be worthwhile to explore whether an electrolyte imbalance is part of the issue. This leads naturally to the idea that hydration and electrolytes alone won't fix everything if your muscles themselves are stiff, weak, or underused. That's where gentle activity tailored for seniors comes in. Many older adults believe that rest is the best way to deal with muscle cramps. After all, when your leg seizes up in pain, your first instinct is often to sit or lie down. While resting can provide immediate relief, relying too heavily on rest can backfire. Muscles that don't move regularly become weaker, less flexible, and more prone to cramping. Let's look at Raymond, age 77, who used to walk 2 miles each morning. Over time, knee stiffness made him cut his walks to just a few blocks. Then, to protect himself from more pain, he stopped doing simple leg stretches altogether. Initially, he felt he was saving his muscles from strain, but the less he moved, the more frequently he experienced random cramps, like a vicious cycle that seemed impossible to break. When his granddaughter, who was a physical therapist, visited him, she noticed how tight his calves and hamstrings had become. The lack of consistent movement had left his muscles in a perpetual state of tension, ripe for those dreaded cramps. The insight here is that certain gentle stretches and low-impact exercises not only help you maintain muscle tone, but also improve circulation. Better circulation delivers more oxygen and nutrients, like those crucial electrolytes, to your muscles. And when muscles are supple and strong, they're far less likely to seize up. Raymond started small. He did seated calf raises while watching television and added a short, slow walk around his block every evening. Within a month, he noticed fewer episodes of cramping. As he felt more confident, he branched into light leg stretches before bedtime. Over time, these simple actions help break the cycle of cramping. From a purely physical standpoint, movement keeps your muscles active, preventing the excessive buildup of lactic acid and reducing tension. Emotionally, gentle activity can help you reclaim parts of your life you might have considered off limits. Whether it's strolling with friends or gardening, staying active reminds you that your body is capable of more than you might have believed. This is empowering, especially if you spent months or years thinking cramps were just something you had to live with. If you're worried about joint pain or balance issues, consult your healthcare provider or a physical therapist who specializes in senior fitness. They can suggest modifications, perhaps using a chair or a wall for support, or even aquatic exercise, which is easier on the joints. The key isn't to power through intense workouts, but to engage in gentle, consistent movement that stretches and strengthens your muscles. When you adopt this mindset, you'll likely find that leg cramps become less frequent and less intense, and you'll also gain a sense of independence that's priceless. Take a moment to think about your own routine. Do you engage in even light physical activity most days? What small change could you make right now, like a brief standing calf stretch after each meal, to gently train your muscles? These little steps might feel modest, but they can yield big rewards over time. And this leads us to one more aspect that often goes hand in hand with staying active: aligning your overall diet and lifestyle with your body's evolving needs after 65. Although hydration, minerals, and movement are crucial, your daily food choices and overall lifestyle can reinforce or sabotage your progress against leg cramps. Many of us assume that if we're eating 3 meals a day, we're set. But dietary needs evolve with age. If those meals don't provide the right balance of proteins, vitamins, and minerals, or if we eat in ways that spike and crash our energy levels, muscle cramps can remain stubbornly persistent. Consider Grace, 83, who lived alone and often reached for quick, processed meals out of convenience. During the day, she didn't notice much trouble, but as soon as night fell, her calves and feet would tighten up painfully. She initially chalked it up to just getting older. Then she started paying attention to her diet. Lunch might be canned soup loaded with salt, but lacking real nutritional value. Dinner might be a microwave dish that offered calories but little in terms of essential nutrients like magnesium or potassium. Coupled with minimal fresh fruits and vegetables, her muscles simply weren't receiving the nourishment they needed. What turned things around for Grace wasn't a fancy diet plan or expensive supplements. She focused on adding variety to her meals, a handful of berries or a banana in the morning, a small salad with dark leafy greens at lunch, and a piece of fish or a lean protein with vegetables for dinner. She also discovered that certain herbal teas, approved by her healthcare provider, helped her relax in the evening without dehydrating her. Within weeks, the cramps that had plagued her every night began to subside. The changes might sound simple, but for Grace, they were life-altering. Lifestyle factors also matter. Chronic stress, poor sleep habits, and inconsistent meal times can all exacerbate muscle tension. For instance, if you're constantly under stress, your body releases hormones that can trigger inflammation and disturb your electrolyte balance. By incorporating relaxation techniques like light stretching before bedtime, deep breathing exercises, or even gentle yoga if you're able, you create an environment in which your muscles are less likely to seize up. And here's a final tip. Watch out for certain pain relievers or over-the-counter medications that might worsen dehydration or deplete electrolytes. Always talk to your pharmacist or doctor if you're unsure how a medication might affect you. The objective is to adopt a holistic approach that respects your body's changing needs, rather than assuming one single fix, like chugging water, will solve everything. Each of the steps we've discussed can be as minimal or as extensive as your comfort level allows. The real power lies in combining them, balancing hydration, maintaining a healthy intake of minerals, keeping your muscles engaged, and supporting all these efforts with a well-rounded diet and lifestyle. When you do this, you give your body every chance to function optimally, reducing not just leg cramps, but also the stress that comes with them. As we wrap up, let's bring all these insights together. There's a reason so many seniors find themselves still struggling with leg cramps after months or even years of following the advice to just drink more water. The body's needs after 65 aren't as simple as filling up a glass. You've learned that balanced hydration means timing your fluid intake wisely and potentially including electrolyte-rich beverages or foods. You've also seen how crucial minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium can be for muscle health, and how cutting out all salt can do more harm than good in some cases. By adding gentle movement, tailored to your abilities, you keep your muscles supple and your circulation strong, both of which are essential for fending off cramps. And by paying attention to your diet and overall lifestyle, you give your muscles the daily fuel and rest they need to recover and grow stronger. In short, every one of these pieces supports the others, and together they can create a noticeable difference in how frequently and intensely you experience leg cramps. It's important to act sooner rather than later. When leg cramps rob you of sleep or make you hesitant to walk around the block, it can start a chain reaction of decreased mobility and lost confidence. The risk is that by ignoring these seemingly minor issues, you could slip into a more sedentary lifestyle, which then increases your vulnerability to a range of other health challenges. But you can break that cycle starting right now. Imagine feeling the freedom to join your friends on that morning walk or sleep through the entire night without fear of seizing muscles. The next step is up to you. If you feel ready to dive into a complete lifestyle shift, start by talking with your healthcare provider about any medication adjustments or possible mineral deficiencies. If you're more comfortable with small, manageable changes, pick one tip that resonated the most. Maybe sipping an electrolyte drink midday or adding a 5-minute stretching routine each evening. And implement it this week. You can always build from there. Or perhaps you're on the fence and simply want more information. Reach out for resources, check local senior community centers that offer nutrition and fitness workshops, or speak to a nutritionist who understands the needs of older adults. No matter where you are in your journey, remember that you're not powerless against leg cramps. You have agency. These are your muscles and your life experiences, and with the right knowledge and small, consistent steps, you can reclaim the comfort and mobility you deserve. Thank you for taking the time to explore these strategies with me. I encourage you to share this information with friends or loved ones who might also struggle with leg cramps, because you never know who else could benefit from a fresh perspective. By spreading the word and supporting one another, we can create a community where getting older doesn't have to mean resigning ourselves to persistent aches and pains. Above all, be proud of every effort you make toward better health. It's a testament to your commitment to staying active, independent, and engaged with the people and activities you love. Remember, you don't have to settle for the same old advice or suffer in silence. By going beyond just drink more water and embracing a more comprehensive approach, you open the door to more comfortable days and restful nights. Here's to taking those first steps, no matter how small, toward a life that feels freer and more energized.